Thank you. Thank you. Last part of the marathon. Henry Kissinger, just very briefly, is a man who's been a front man for this Illuminati for a long, long time, back into the 60s. He was a major manipulator. He was a neocon before they even termed the phrase neocons. And he also connects into people like Richard Pearl, James Woolsey, the former head of the CIA, who's on that defense policy board like Pearl and stuff. They all connect in together. But this is the ultimate neocon of the last 30, 40 years. That is, of course, a horrible picture, so let's change it. I don't know why I did that, but... yeah, it's horrible. They must be the nose pickers, because I found that as well. It's just kind of strange people, aren't they? They're ruling us, you know. Why seek the star when you are the star? What I want to do in this last section, I'm going to go into real bizarre areas now, and anyone that thinks that I'm mad is going to have it fully confirmed in their belief system, because it's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, in this crazy world, if they don't consider you mad, then you have no confirmation of your own sanity, do you? Imagine if this crazy world thought you were sane. Oh my God, worst nightmare. And in this section, I want to talk about some of the aspects of this matrix, this mind prison that we actually live in, and how we create it, and how it's manipulated so that our reality becomes the reality the manipulators want us to have because it suits their agenda. And part of that is realizing that we are not physical bodies, whether they're black, white, or sky blue, pink. That's not what we are. That's a vehicle to experience this reality. We are consciousness, infinite consciousness that never dies. The word does not exist in consciousness. And therefore, if we consider ourselves to be physical people, there is no David Icke. David Icke is just a name for an experience infinite consciousness is having in this reality. That's all it is. It's just an experience. And if we start identifying with David Icke and Joe Bloggs, we get pulled into seeing ourselves as little insignificant people. Oh, I'm just Joe Public, I am, what can I do? And that's why we're constantly pushed into that disconnected state where we identify who we are with what we're doing. People, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Where people identify who they are with their job. They say, like, what are you? Oh, I'm a coal miner. I sweep the streets. I'm an airline pilot. I actually am in the City of London. And then we kind of judge who they are, and they judge who they are by what they're doing. It's just an experience. That's all it is. I mean, how many people go up to someone and they say, hey, hello, nice to meet you. Who are you? And you say, I'm everything that exists. Nice to meet you. We don't do that. And in a sane and enlightened world, the other guy would say, hey, yes, so am I. Thought I recognized you. The divisions are there to divide us. So I want to go into all that and many other things, and many other bizarre things. Interesting thing, the question that I started to ask is, because I realized after a few years of this, that there was some other dimensional connection here. Not just talking to people on the inside, but many other different people. People who had been involved in the mind control projects and saw some of this stuff from the inside. So my question was, who controls the controllers? Because it's a real hierarchical thing, and eventually it goes out of this dimension. And the thing to remember is that we don't live in a world. This is the kind of information I'm talking about in this last section, which has been fundamental to the manipulation of the human race, the suppression of it, because it is the means by which we understand who we are, how we create a reality we like or don't like, and how we can change it to another one. Holds us in the matrix. When we look through our eyes, we don't see a world we think we do. All we're seeing is a frequency range. A frequency range that our five senses can access. And it's a very, very narrow one. Outside of that frequency range that we can access is an infinity of possibility. and experience and places of existence. And we're just seeing a fraction. Basically, it's like having a radio and you tune it to radio 1. And what you get then is radio 1. You don't get radio 2, 3, and 4. And yet all those radio stations, broadcast frequencies, are existing in the same space, just as all existence and all these other dimensions of existence exist in the same space that we're occupying. But the radio is tuned to radio 1, so that's what you get. You move it to radio 2, now you've got radio 2. Radio 1 hasn't stopped broadcasting because you've moved from it, it's just that you're not accessing it anymore. And it's the same with our experience in this illusion we call the physical world. When we take on physical form, we are locking ourselves into this reality. Therefore, that's what we experience, this frequency range. You get cats and other animals who have a greater visual frequency range, and what they do is they're reacting to empty space in the room, and you go, what's wrong with the bloody cat? It's going like that. But to the cat, greater visual access of frequency range, that is not empty space, although it appears to be to us. People talk about the UFOs. I saw this UFO and it disappeared in front of my eyes. Like, what are you on? You're mad. No, it hasn't actually disappeared. It has left the frequency range of the 5 senses, therefore it appears to disappear. That is all. It's all about frequency and whether you're tuned to it. And I started to realize, in fact, as more and more is being identified, only 1% or less than 1% of identifiable matter in this universe we can actually see with our 5 senses. And yet we are so locked into the conditioning, this is reality, that when you're talking about anything that is beyond what is accepted to exist, you're mad, you're on something. And yet, hold on a minute, we can't see 99% of what is known to exist. What? We open our minds to all possibility. It's like Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, wisdom is knowing how little we know. That holds your mind open. Not that you accept anything, any old crap, but it holds your mind open to possibility instead of dismissing things just because they're different. Bloody hell, I'm going to get into some different things in this section. Let's start. One of the things that's been kind of thrown at me, dismiss him, he says reptiles run the world, you're mad. Well, I have a simple philosophy. I follow information. If you try to uncover what's going on in the world with a belief system, whether it's a religious belief system or whether it's a rigid one, or whether it's a political belief system or whatever, anything like that, then you might as well just go and have a cup of tea. Because what's going on in the world is so different to what we think is going on that if you have a belief system to defend, and also if you have an ego to defend, hey, what will people think of me, then you're dead in the water, because people, you will not go into areas that this information takes you, because your belief system will edit them out. Not go in there, my belief system's under pressure if I do. I just follow information. And I got to the point, in about the mid-late 90s,